Welcome to Guzzlr.
Right, hello and welcome to the Guzzlr Podcast, episode 29. We are today talking about good and bad film, what makes a good film, what makes a bad film. We'll probably end up talking about films we like, films we don't like, that sort of stuff. And then it's important to say that this is going to bleed into our extra content this week, where we are going to discuss The Room, famously one of the worst films of all time. A bit of a cult classic, really, isn't it?
Yes, it is very much so a cult classic, yeah.
I guess, like we normally say, are you boys alright? You good?
No.
Declan, I don't feel like you are.
No.
Nice weather?
Very long day.
Yeah, we're filming this on Saturday, and I think the weather's been
very
absolutely lovely. Have you been roofing today, Declan?
No, I've been... I've pulled out half of a wall, I've rewired inside the wall, and then I've painted the wall.
Oh, so, because if you're on the roof, it would have been quite nice, because of the lovely sun, but you've been inside. So.
No, I finished the roof.
It was nice out.
I finished the roof yesterday.
Guzzlr Podcast.
So, what makes a good film?
It not being Star Wars.
I mean, that's the lowest bar.
Exactly.
The Room isn't Star Wars.
It's better.
Yeah. Yeah, to be fair, Declan,
what makes
that
a
means
good
that
film?
any film but 9 films are good.
Yeah.
That's what you mean. Any film but 9 of them are good.
Well, I don't know. That there might be some near that level.
So if you was making a checklist of how a good film is made, I think, especially as we have seen a terrible film this week, the script is vital.
Massively so. Massive. It is weird. It's always been weird to me, actually, how little recognition like scriptwriters get.
Yeah. Because someone can write a film.
You always talk about the director and the
Yeah.
actors, but you never really talk about who wrote the film.
Yeah.
But is the writer of the film different to the scriptwriter? Because there's different roles in their film, isn't there? The person who writes the script and the person who writes the film.
I don't
know. Like, because it will be different between plot and dialogue. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. But like that's weird, isn't it? That like we've done our writers' room episodes, right? And for half hour we write a film in inverted commas. But then we don't write the script. But then technically, is that our film?
I assume that like directors and producers have a lot of the say in what happens in terms of the plot, but there'll be a team of writers that will decide on kind of what direction the dialogue has.
Yes, maybe so. And the thing I do find weird is that depending on the film, it will say like produced by, and it will say a massive producer. But then we might not know the director or the writer of the film. And then sometimes it'll be like written by, and there'll be someone really famous, and then it won't tell you the director or producer. And it's weird how these people are all known for the different things. But you don't often get a film where it's like directed by this person, produced by this person, written by this person. Like you don't often get that. Yeah.
You were saying what makes a good film, or asking what makes a good film.
Yeah.
What are your favourite films? We can kind of go from there.
Do you mean genre of film or actual film then?
No, actual film. We can kind of like work out the parts of what makes a good film from that.
Okay, that's a good question then. So, well, some of my favourite films, The Trial of Chicago 7 is, I think, a fantastic film. And the other films include Eternal Sunshine, Good Will Hunting. They're some of my favourite films. Dead Poets Society as well. But then, there's other films which I absolutely love, which aren't good films.
Right.
Parent Trap, Johnny English. Do you know what I mean? Films like that, but they're not good films, are they? They're just films that you enjoy. But just because I enjoy them doesn't mean at all they're a good film. Like Parent Trap is a bad film, and so is Johnny English.
Is Johnny English up there for you as?
No, when I was, I don't know, about 10 years ago, at the weekend, if I was just be a bit bored, I was like, let's put Johnny English on, because it's just such a simple film, isn't it? It's just slapstick. It's just like.
No offence, but this is full offence. Jason Bateman, you said, is one of your favourite actors, and you said that Chris Pratt's your favourite Chris. So I'm not really like, I'm not sure how much I trust you on.
Yeah. Jason Bateman, it's
any
just,
of this.
All of his films I really enjoy. I know they're often comedy films. There's a film called The Gift. Have you seen The Gift, Declan? I feel that film's right up your street.
I've heard of it. What happens?
That film is very, very good. So it's got Jason Bateman in it, and it's not a funny film in any way of the word. They move into this new house, and this bloke comes round to bring him a gift. And he's like, oh, I used to go to school with you. And Jason's like, no, I don't think you did. And then slowly they start bringing more gifts round. And they get a bit more psychotic. And he like breaks into his house and stuff like that. And Jason says to his wife, I made his life live in hell when I was younger. And at the end, the way the film ends, I honestly think it's one of the best endings of any film. The way the film ends is absolutely mental. And I still think about the end of that film to this day.
Fatal Attraction with Jason Bateman?
No. But that, yeah,
Okay.
well, I think it probably could take something from that. To be fair, it could take something from that. But the ending of the film is, I still think about that film regularly. The ending.
You wake up at night and you're just like, The Gift.
Yeah.
What about you, Alf?
It's flashing before your eyes.
It's a proper thriller film, and it is like, yeah.
What's happening?
So,
What about you?
What are your favourite films then?
I genuinely, the thing is, I feel like Logan's one of my favourite films of all time. I absolutely adore Logan, but I feel like saying any superhero film is always just like frowned upon.
Yeah,
when you
but
talk about best films ever.
the thing about Logan is it wasn't just a superhero film, was it? It was like it was made to be critically acclaimed.
It's amazing. I love it.
Do you think though that the reason superhero films are frowned upon to say it's your favourite film is because people don't tend to like serial films? I say that people do like serial films, but that's why. Because if I just said like my favourite film in the world is the Third Bourne film or Mission Impossible 4 or like something like that, people are like, really?
I think it's just that sort of anything that's seen as like a big budget blockbuster thing tends to be seen as not artistic, which feels really weird to me. I don't really understand like Fast and Furious films are never going to be. No one's ever going to be like, oh, Fast and Furious
that's it.
8.
They're the other ones
best
that are
film of all
awful.
time.
Yeah.
I've never actually seen a single Fast and Furious film. No one's gonna be like Hobbs and Shaw's the best film ever made.
No, it's one.
My other favourite film of all time. I have very bad choices because Logan's like everyone's like that's a superhero film, and my other one's Shawshank, and everyone's just like, oh, if you don't know anything about film, Shawshank's your favourite film.
Yeah.
But it is just my favourite film, and it really stresses me out.
Yeah.
But then I'm a massive Stephen King fan, and it's such an amazing adaptation.
Yeah, they're pinpoint to each other, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I read the novella first because I refused to watch it till I'd read it, and it's basically they adapt it pretty much perfectly and then expand it, and the changes they make, I think, actually make it better. So yeah, I'm a massive fan of Shawshank. I love Shawshank.
What about you, Declan?
Mine's Good Will Hunting, and it has been
think
for years and years and years and years. I adore that film. The thing is, it was really quite low budget when Damon and Affleck were coming up. I think they wrote it, didn't they? There's some famous writers.
Did, yeah. They said that when they were at college, at school and stuff, they went to this massive school, and they said that there was loads of different canteens, and they went to the canteen where all the older kids would go, and they would call it a business meeting, and they just talk about like writing films and stuff like that, and then they wrote Good Will Hunting. Yeah, when I was about 19.
That was amazing, and Robin
they weren't
Williams
Oscar for it,
Oscar. Yeah. I think it's a phenomenal film. It's
and it started the career.
One. Yeah,
it is beautiful, and it started the career of both Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, and
But the thing is, it feels like an amateur production that also feels like a very, very sort of try-hard, critically acclaimed film.
Yeah, well, have you seen Dead Poets Society, Declan?
I have.
So they're quite similar, aren't they? They seem really small budget. They seem like
philosophically
they're just filmed in a college. Like there's no budget at all in that. But going back to the fact that like the script writing is what makes that film both those films
so dialogue heavy.
I think as well with all the films that we've named, there's sort of like a moral or something that you take away from the film, that you learn from the film.
A lot of really
but I
good
think
films.
there is, isn't there? You when you leave Logan, you do take away the ending of that film, right? Like people get emotional about that film. Like you don't see the film going, "That's
I think emotion's a massive theme across all of those films, 110%.
In a film Eternal
Sunshine, no one's favourite film's like Lego Movie. Do you know what I mean?
No, exactly. In Eternal Sunshine,
greatest film ever made.
Yeah, you've seen Eternal Sunshine, haven't you?
It's brilliant, really good film.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen Eternal Sunshine, it's about this man, Jim Carrey, and he's going about his everyday life, and he goes to see this woman who he thought he broke up with like about 2 weeks ago, and he goes up to her, and she just doesn't know who he is, and he's really confused. And her friends tell him that she went to this place and got all of her memories just wiped, and he goes through it as well. And the film is basically him reliving his memories. And at the start, he's living these memories, going, I hate her, and then it starts to go deeper into his mind, these real deep memories he doesn't want to get rid of, and he starts to realise he wants to hold on to this and doesn't want to let go. And their final memory, slight spoiler here, but the final memory that they get rid of is the first memory they ever have of each other. And the final words that you hear of them is, she says, "Meet me in Montauk," which is like the place that they like meet. And he goes there the next day, and then she also goes there. And it's the only memory they have, and they don't know why they've been told to meet there. And they start this like sort of bond again. And that line just sort of just gets me so much.
It's a very, very head film, but in terms of all them sort of really weird psychological twisty films, it is stunning. All
Yes,
the
it is,
visuals and everything he goes through, even the plot, the dialogue, everything just works. It just kind of fits. Jim Carrey was perfect in that role.
Yeah, it was Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet, and to see, especially this was the sort of time when Jim Carrey was doing films like Ace Ventura and The Mask and stuff like that. And I think for him to do this,
I love The Mask.
fantastic. I love The Mask. Yeah.
There's a conversation me and you had a little while ago, Lee. I think it was like November time when I watched The Truman Show.
Yes.
And it was just how like sequels and remakes and prequels have kind of killed the market for cinema. I know I sound like a bit of like a hipster.
Me and Tash talk about this the other day. Yeah.
Because like all the films you guys have just been discussing and like Truman Show and all these classic films, I just can't imagine those being made now. I can't imagine someone being able to pitch something like that and getting a budget for it.
No.
Outside of the indie film market, obviously.
But that's because films like Marvel make box office and make the most money ever. And
exactly, 100%.
Unless you have a universe that everyone can follow and it fits as many different individuals as possible, you're not gonna make any money from it.
No. But if you look at like the top grossing lists of every year now, they're usually only in about the top 40 if they're Disney, animated, a remake, or a sequel.
Oh, 100%. And that is the problem. I know the live action remakes of Disney and stuff we're going to talk about, but that is why they're not going to stop making those films.
No.
Because they make a ton of money.
Yeah, they do.
No matter how like creatively decrepit they are and just void of any love, it doesn't matter. They're making tons of money. Who cares?
Yeah, no, exactly. But yeah, like you said, Truman Show. Have you seen Truman Show, Declan?
I have. What an amazing film.
Yeah, and I think again, another Jim Carrey film, and that
I like Truman Show, but I feel like it's so ingrained in us what Truman Show's about.
Yeah, I saw Truman Show about.
I can't imagine how good that film would be if you didn't know.
Yeah.
What it's about.
I didn't know anything.
Ago,
I didn't know what it was about before I'd seen it, and I only saw it like last year, and that incredible. It was so good. You obviously hear people say, this is like the Truman Show, but unless you watch it or someone explains it to you in depth, I didn't know. I never had that, and I just watched it like a virgin.
And the ending, that's really just something. Really is.
I spent days trying to find out what happened after the ending. Never found out. No one ever.
It is annoying, though,
no writer ever said anything. Nothing.
Again, that's the power of not having sequel culture, of just having a film that's allowed to just be a film, that's allowed to just exist. Or like I don't really like Gone Girl. Have you seen Gone Girl?
I have, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of Gone Girl because it does just like end. But I also don't think they should make a sequel for Gone Girl.
Gone Girl is so annoying because the film is really good up until the ending, and I'm like, really? Now? Films that get Oscar nominated and Golden Globe nominated often aren't. Best Picture is never like Marvel films and stuff like that. People go, but why? For the reason that they're often films that aren't sequels or remakes or things like this year, Chicago 7 is not the best film and things like that, because that is, it doesn't need a sequel. It just doesn't. I mean, you look at the films that have won best film in the past: Parasite, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Green Book, 12 Years a Slave, stuff like that.
Did you see Bong's writing a sequel to Parasite?
He is. And
apparently there's multiple sequels, I think I read. I think he said there's a few
incredibly weird.
God, I find that weird. Like, I loved Parasite. Parasite was amazing. But
something that really annoys me about modern Oscar-nominated films is it feels like they try to be Oscar-nominated films, right? If you think about films like Whiplash... But don't get me wrong, it's a brilliant film. I love Whiplash. Great film.
Yeah.
But it feels like it was made to be liked by the critics.
Do you know what? Actually, I think that his name is it Damien Chazelle? Is that his name?
I don't know.
Chazelle? I feel like thinking about it, all of his films kind of fit that bracket. I think because La La Land, I quite like La La Land, but that screams of something that wanted Oscar nomination.
It just
that absolutely reeks of it.
Yeah, it just smells of pretension. It's almost begging critics to like say you're gonna like this, and I don't like it. Think back to like Truman Show, Good Will Hunting. These are films that don't feel stuffy like Whiplash does. They feel organic, but brilliant at the same time. They weren't made to be brilliant films, but they turned out to be them anyway. And I think that's lost in modern cinema.
I mean, like I say, I like La La Land. I think La La Land's a really good film, but it is definitely like massively Oscar baity, 100%.
Did you know La La Land is 2 films?
I mean, I've seen it, and I don't think it was.
Oh no!
What do you mean?
There's. I've never seen it, but apparently there's one certain scene where it changes from a musical to having music in it, or something like, or the other way around, or something like that. Basically, the characters go from not knowing they're singing to knowing they're singing, and apparently there's a theory that La La Land is 2 films that's like sliced together. But it's worth a watch. I can't remember which way it is, but that's what
There's
I've
a bloke called...
Yeah.
Is it Matthew McDonough or Martin McDonough? He's an Irish bloke, and Freebill is one of the greatest films I've ever watched in my entire life. Everything about that film is phenomenal, but it is one of the most deeply heartbreaking films I've ever seen, and not just sad. Like, it is deeply heartbreaking in my head. It's so sad. And when I saw it in the cinema, when we left the cinema, everyone was just silent.
I feel like I've been rewatching. This is not even related to good films, but I've been rewatching Community. You guys ever seen Community?
I haven't seen Community, no.
Really good.
Community's so good. It's insane.
It is very.
And obviously,
very
that's
good.
where the Russo brothers started.
Yeah,
it is.
I just like seeing the progression.
And Dan Harmon.
Dan Harmon, yeah, he got fired from Community as well
did.
for one of the seasons. Season 4, and then there's some really weird interviews with him actually, because he got accused of like sexual misconduct and stuff.
Really?
And then in his podcast he literally just straight out says, "Look, I was a piece of shit. I'm really, really sorry. I did these things 110%. I was an absolute scumbag. I was an alcoholic. I was really drunk, and I could not be more sorry." And then the girl who accused him just said, "That's the best apology I've ever heard in my entire life. Please forgive him."
To be fair,
really
as apologies go in Hollywood.
You should hear the apologies. Genuinely, really like heartfelt, and he did just say that he was just in a bad place in his life, and he's ruined her life. And she said it was amazing, and she took it. So
another thing, is about sexual misconduct. One of my favourite actors of all time is Kevin Spacey. Yeah, most films that he's in, Usual Suspects, Baby Driver, Seven.
Right,
Baby Driver's amazing.
The Kevin Spacey.
Baby Driver's getting a sequel, isn't it?
I don't know.
The Kevin Spacey thing,
pretty sure it is.
Really annoyed me.
Yeah,
because he is phenomenal in House of Cards. Right,
he's phenomenal in everything he's ever done.
He is so amazing. Good. And then it came out, and I was like, I hate him. I can't. Yeah. I can't support a man like this.
He did that like apology video in character, didn't he?
Yeah, in the character.
You seen that on YouTube?
It's like Split into Three, where he's apologising for
so weird.
What he done. He's talking about House of Cards, and then he's talking about the fact he's going to come back.
That's one of the worst things I've ever seen.
And American Beauty is one of my most favourite films. American Beauty is a piece of art. Yeah. So what have we took from this? The fact that you know what does make, because that you said about talking about our favourite films, what have they all got in common? As I said, they've got this like moral, the emotion of it. They've all got great script writing as well. In all of these films, they're not just. They're deeply thought-provoking films, aren't they? You have to think a lot about these films.
I think the closer it gets to realism, right? Can you imagine feeling what the characters felt? Is there a sense of empathy that you can create with these characters? If they're not, like, as much as we all love Marvel, we're not going to say these are really good films, because we can't empathise with Thor, can we? Because that mucker hits a brick of rock and throws it in the air.
That's the thing. I didn't cry when Iron Man died at the end of Endgame. I didn't. But yet, I can watch an hour and a half film and sob afterwards because of the emotion that it's given.
Yeah.
And that shows up, more than 23 films, and I didn't feel. I was like, oh, that's sad that he's died and all that, but I didn't cry, and that's weird, isn't it?
Because you can't relate to characters like that, and I think that's very important in films. If you think about your favourite films, think about Dead Poets Society. We're all students in that position. That was a teacher that them students look up to, and we have teachers in common that we all look up to.
What beer are we drinking?
Oh yeah, God, we are far into this to be talking about beer. We are drinking. I've been very excited for this because I read some really good
I'm
reviews
excited
for it.
about my wine too. Nice. Crack on.
It is a espresso martini. It is an espresso milk stout.
Oh yeah, I saw that the other day. I need to get it. That looks really nice.
Dark chocolate malt coffee from Bristol Beer Factory. Yeah.
And we'll say more about that at the end.
I am really excited for my wine. So Estevez, the Chilean winery who makes my favourite red, which is the clone of Hans Beer, that RIP got discontinued, may they rest in peace. They've made a Sauvignon Blanc that you can get in Lidl. Now, the Pinot Noir that they make is absolutely divine. If you go into Aldi at any time, have a look through the wines. It's called Estevez Pinot Noir. I can't remember what the name is. It's a clone of a German Pinot Noir called Hans Beer. So they've made this as well, also in Aldi. I think it cost me £7. It's not as dry as I normally like whites, but it's actually a really, really nice white. I can go for this. It's not as good as the Costello that I keep talking about, rattling on about, the Pinot Grigio, but it's really nice. I'd go give it a go.
Carrying on, now we've spoke about beer and stuff. We've spoke about what makes a good film. So what makes a bad... I guess it's based off of what we've already said. It's got to be one that doesn't connect with you, right?
Star Wars.
In any way. Star Wars. So, to be fair, I'm not a big fan of Star Wars either.
The thing that gets me about Star Wars, and I'll say this because, well, no one's asked me, but I'm going to tell them.
Awful.
Not only the acting's awful, right, but the thing was, Star Wars got a good name for itself in the 70s because of its special effects.
I think it's because it was the first of its kind.
Yeah.
Well, I think that it was like, yeah.
But the acting wasn't good, and the film itself wasn't particularly good either. It was just because it was the first... Like Snow White was the first of its kind, so was Star Wars, right? And then it kind of earned this pretension that no matter what film come out after it in the sequel would also automatically have this sort of aura surrounding it.
But
and I hate it.
The original trilogy's good, though.
But it's not, because the acting's awful.
I agree with you that everything afterwards has been awful. The prequel film's
But
terrible.
I don't like the original
What
films.
I've seen of the sequel trilogy, I've only seen the first one and a bit of it's awful, absolutely terrible. But like the original trilogy is a good bit of cinema history. I think they're good films.
The thing that annoys
and I
me...
agree with you, Declan, as well. I do agree with you, but I agree, but I also agree with Alfie that I think the original three are really good, and the prequels are awful, and I think the sequels aren't that great. I watch them in the sense that I enjoy them in the same way I enjoy Parent Trap, but I like the Star Wars universe in a sense that it can go anywhere, and I like the lore behind Star Wars.
Right,
I do agree with you.
This is the thing. I really like the premise of Star Wars, right? The effects that they could use, all the lightsabers a lot, right? But they don't do it for me. All the films have this aura about them that they were the first of its kind. They were really, in terms of cinema, the first like full-blown sci-fi films that was like big production costs. And all of them feel like they're trying to be that, but they can't be that because they're not good enough.
I think that I have only seen a bit of this, but I know that the things that happen later on in the Clone Wars, the animated series. If you look at IMDb, the whole last series got like 9.8, 9.9. Like, people love it, and I think though that's because that talks about the lore and talks about the things behind it, but it's animated, so you haven't got to worry about the bad acting. You haven't got to worry about anything else. They can do whatever they want with animation.
I think the problem with it as well is that like they don't so there is so much lore. There's so many books. There's so many comics, cartoons. There's such a massive universe with so much history, and yet they never seem to do anything with that in the films.
One family.
And it annoys me so much.
One family in the whole universe.
Yeah, that's what
9
annoys
films.
me.
Well,
That's
they've
what
planned all these
pisses me
other,
off.
different series and stuff now, which is it's outside of the Skywalker saga. So hopefully, that should.
Yes.
That should.
One day I'll explain why I hate the Tories. Get ready for that.
So we haven't managed to avoid the Star Wars talk. Let's progress now. What is the worst film that you've seen at the cinema? So like a film that you actually thought, like you paid to see it, you thought it might be alright, and it was terrible. Because there's a lot of bad films we've seen, but like just seen. Do you know what I mean, someone put it on DVD or we just put it on Netflix or whatever. But like, what did you think would be good and it was terrible?
2 films. The first one I saw. Actually, I'll do the other one first. The second one I saw was the second Fantastic Beasts film.
Okay, yeah.
I thought the first one was
yeah,
Beast
I
film.
didn't think the first one was that
No, I
good.
didn't think it was that good, but I thought it was like a nice something quite different. The second one was absolute just. It was a bit like a who done it. The second was. It was like this person done it, and you go and then they go actually it wasn't. It was this person, and then you go
I've heard it's awful.
And it just keeps going back and forth. And I fell asleep in the cinema, and I was like, no. And the only thing is that I fell asleep during the bit where you actually find out who done it. But I already found out 5 fake people who done it. So
yeah.
and then the first one I fell asleep in, and I thought, it annoyed me so much that this was bad. Was the Murder on the Orient Express, the Kenneth Branagh one?
There had loads of famous people.
Yeah,
in
it
it, right?
filled with
Loads.
famous people. It was done by Kenneth Branagh. I thought this is going to be fantastic. And the first 5
Kenneth
minutes,
Branagh, the guy who did the first Thor film.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
he
that's
does
why.
those.
That was really good. So.
Yeah. He does those Shakespearean films and things, and I just like Kenneth
Yeah, he does.
Branagh.
Yeah.
But the first 5 minutes was fantastic, and I thought this is going to be incredible. And I was like, this is draining the life out of me watching this film. It's absolutely awful.
Although it's worth adding just for everyone who doesn't know us, which is
No one.
that's listening to this, but Louis sees a lot of films. You have a cinema card. You see a lot. Like you've probably seen a lot of films that were bad because you have a cinema card, and you see most things that come
I
out.
go and see a film like twice a week. Yeah, I do love.
Yeah, whereas me and Deck are probably a little bit more
I spend my
specific.
I
about
spend
what-
my time
So I
exercising.
Yeah, I don't actually watch films.
Yeah, same mate, same.
I go and see films
Your mouth,
that I would just never go and see. I've seen films that are meant to be bad though as well. Like, I saw a film a couple of years ago called Escape Room, in which 5 people go into an escape room and loads of like, murder things happen. But that's not meant to be good. So I watched it thinking this is clearly a bad film, but I'm enjoying it because it's crap. But like
Yeah,
Murder
of
on the
course.
Express was meant to be good, and it wasn't. And they got one called Death on the Nile coming out, and again it's filled with famous people, and I want to watch it. The trailer's got me, but I know nothing's gonna happen, and it annoys me. But I'm gonna go and I'm gonna I'm gonna go and watch it, and I'm gonna come out of it going, why did I do that to myself?
Deck.
Right, I'm going to agree with you on the Harry Potter train. Right?
Yeah.
Now, you boys both know.
They call it the Hogwarts Express, not just the Harry Potter train. Hey?
Deck's a big Harry Potter fan.
I am a massive Harry Potter fan.
I've watched you buy a wand.
I do.
Yeah.
I've got Dumbledore's wand at my mum's house. You know when everyone had the old pirated DVDs?
Yeah.
My first one was the first Harry Potter film, right? So that's all I watched for ages. I love Harry Potter. However, I went to watch Deathly Hallows Part 1 at the cinema, and I didn't enjoy it. I don't know whether, like, I'm not... It's the worst film between the lot of them, don't get me wrong. Unless I see them sequentially, I don't like picking one out at a time. But then again, I only really go to the cinema to watch films that I kind of know I'm going to like.
Yeah, no, I get that 100%. But like Harry Potter's another thing, like sort of Star Wars, that sort of just needs to be. I think the first films were really good. I mean, I haven't seen the last 2, but like they're great films. Everyone loved them. Just leave them alone and just move on with their life. But she tried to, and no one liked what she did.
The thing is that, like, in terms of really good cinema, I think Half-Blood Prince is a really good film.
Well, this is the thing, that Harry Potter was the first people to go, well, we can make some extra money off this. We'll split that final book into two.
Yeah, and that really annoyed me because Deathly Hallows Part 1...
And it became a big thing.
It's useless.
Hunger Games done it.
Hunger Games?
Twilight done it.
What's the point?
Deck mentioned Thor the Dark World.
Yeah.
I rewatched that the other day. Honestly, it's not even that bad.
I've always said it's not that bad.
I don't really...
It's bad, but it's
I
not
don't
that
really
bad.
understand the hate. Like, it's alright. It's alright. It's quite humorous. The last fight's quite entertaining with, like, all the stuff going sometimes into the dark world, and, like, it's quite good.
The thing I think it is is because the special effects just aren't the same as the rest of the Marvel films.
I think it's compared against other films, isn't it? That's why.
Yeah, it's compared against the others. Like, I actually quite enjoy the first Thor film, but I wouldn't say it's very good.
I preferred Thor: Dark World to the first Thor.
I will watch all of the you know how much I love Ragnarok anyway. But in terms of superheroes and their films, Thor's I feel like has got the brunt end of the stick because he's been given not the best films in the sequels. In fact, he had probably one of the most interesting storylines to tell, and I feel like they've just kind of short-ended him for it.
Yeah.
But he got Thor Ragnarok, and then he's got another Thor film coming out with Taika Waititi directing, and all the Guardians are in it. Like, I feel like he's gonna fare well, but I agree 100%.
But I feel like that's only down to Taika Waititi, because I love that man. I think he's brilliant.
That's another one as well. Jojo Rabbit.
Wow.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Jojo Rabbit.
Oh my god.
Bad films at the cinema. Me and Louis went to see a bad film at the cinema.
It is, yeah.
And it was just me and you in the cinema, and then one other person.
Arrived like 20 minutes late as well. Just like.
And what was the film called? Sucker Punch.
Snyder.
Yes, Zack Snyder.
I've heard of that.
Sucker Punch.
It basically
with
is,
Emily Brown in. Is Emily
what
Brown
it is,
in?
Declan, is it's an ideal film for two
Hang on, I'll IMDb it.
12-year-old boys to go and see. And no.
We had a great time, mate. We did.
It's just
but it makes no sense.
No, it's an awful.
What
film.
is it about?
It's an awful film. And I remember
It's got Vanessa
showing my
Hudgens
mum.
in it.
Yeah, it has. Yeah,
Vanessa Hudgens is in
I
it.
remember showing mum the trailer before we went to see it. She went, "Oh, it looks good, doesn't it?" She went, "Well, for like 12-year-old boys."
I can tell this by the summary. Listen to this. A young girl institutionalized by her abusive stepfather retreats to an alternative reality as a coping strategy and envisions a plan to help her escape.
But the thing
behave.
is, when it was advertised, I don't think they mentioned that that she was going away to a virtual or an alternate reality or a virtual reality.
It's like mech robots in it or something, and they're like they fight a war, but they're all actually mental. And she has like a what's it called? You know where they drill into your eye, or whatever it is. A lobotomy. She gets a lobotomy.
Yeah, at the end,
To be fair, that reminds me.
And then she gets on a bus at the end.
That
after she's had a lobotomy.
That reminds me of the film. Have you boys seen the film that Justin Timberlake's in when he's got a clock on his arm?
Yeah, In Time.
Friends Benefits.
See, no, In Time. I think the premise of that film is brilliant.
Yeah, but it's all delivered well.
The premise of that film is brilliant. If it was made in any other way.
Yes.
Because it's dog shit. It's an awful film.
Well, no, actually, no. I think, Declan, the first 20 minutes is fantastic.
Oh, yeah, all right, I'll give you that. But after that, it goes aggressively downhill. Like the UK economy, it's just gone straight down. Like, not even at an angle. It's like 90 degrees, straight to the floor. The thing is, the film had a really, really good idea.
Yeah, it did,
and it was just ruined by awful screenplay and awful acting.
I'm trying to see if I can think of any other films with like really good premises that just didn't execute.
That's actually quite a good question. Is there any film that you feel was ruined by like dialogue or acting?
The one we're going to talk about shortly.
Yeah. I mean, was it ruined by? It was ruined by everything.
The dialogue made it.
No, to be fair, that's the most entertaining bit. For the Guzzlr listeners, all one of you, what is a film that had a really, really good premise? Like the plot, if done properly, would have been amazing.
You asked a question that we said we'd answer, and we still have not answered. And it was like, wasn't it like, what's the best sequel?
Oh, I did.
Sequel?
I did.
And we still haven't answered that. Now I'm going to throw in Blade Runner into the mix. Because that's a nice film.
For those of you that can't see this, Louis is just...
Louis is having an orgasm, yes. It's a good film.
Asterix, fantastic.
I still haven't seen it.
The thing is, I won't spoil it, Declan, but like, I didn't think it was very good.
I could talk about this for an hour.
Until the last 5 minutes.
Are you on about 2044?
It was so good. 2049, yeah.
Oh. 2049, yeah. Like, I thought it was fine. It was really slow. It's a really slow film.
It's really slow, yeah.
But then the last 5 minutes, god tier, amazing.
The first Blade Runner, I think, is very, very good. The ending to Blade Runner is fantastic as well. There's a really famous quote that when you see it, you'll be like, oh my god, that's amazing. And the bloke just made up on the spot. And you need to watch a certain Blade Runner, because Blade Runner has been made about 5 times. There's like the director's cut, the ultimate cut.
Yeah.
You need to watch. I think it's called the director's cut. It might be. But there's very specific details that like make it make sense. It's fantastic. And 2049 has some of the best cinematography of any film.
Oh,
ever.
the cinematography is amazing.
It's done by a man called
gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, I can't remember his name now. The director is Denis Villeneuve, but the bloke who done the cinematography, I can't remember his name, but he was nominated for about 13 Oscars, never ever won, and his cinematography is fantastic. And then he done the cinematography for 1917, which is all filmed in one shot, and he won finally.
One shot in it, yeah.
But
that's crazy.
Blade Runner 2049, fantastic.
Who directed 1917? It's
Sam Mendes, who's married to Kate Winslet. Yeah.
On a very, very, very big divergent in terms of genre, I want to very quickly talk about a film that both me and Alfie love. I don't know if you've seen it, Louis. Is Chef.
I have seen Chef.
Oh, I love
Chef
Chef
like
so
Right,
much.
now Chef is in my top 3. It's probably second behind Good Will Hunting.
I forgot about Chef. I love Chef.
Right. I wouldn't say the acting in it is brilliant and the execution.
You'd be wrong, mate.
But the thing is, I adore this film. I am absolutely in love with everything this film represents, right? The passion that everyone feels for the whole atmosphere of this film is incredible. And yet it's not very highly rated. It's not executed perfectly, but I love it. I would watch it any day of the week.
It's weird though, isn't it? Because like all the films we said we love were because they had like emotion. Nothing goes wrong in Chef. Like there's a little bit at the start where he loses his job, but the rest of the film is just highs.
It's just
literally the whole
brilliant.
film.
It's like immediate low, and then high for the rest of
the whole film's just
and it's
highs,
just
yeah.
passion. The whole film is about how he loves to cook, the food he makes, and his son and everything. It's amazing. For those of I don't think Chef is very heard of personally. No one ever talks about Chef ever.
Unless you're
I've only us and Max.
Yeah.
I've never heard Chef mentioned by anyone, but for anyone that's listening, go and watch Chef. It's got Jon Favreau in it, and Eva Mendes. Is that her name? Is that the right one?
Maybe, I don't know, but Scarlett Johansson and Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
as well.
That was it.
Isn't it
That's the
Sofia
first film
Vergara,
together.
isn't it?
Do me have a look.
Yes.
Sofia
Yeah, she
Vergara,
is.
Sofia Vergara.
Yeah, she is.
From Modern Family.
Go and watch that, and just go into it with no expectations, and just enjoy yourself, because it is. It
If
is
you don't
one
want
of
to
them
watch
films.
that film, if you don't want to watch that film, another feel-good film about cooking, Ratatouille.
Shut up.
Get out.
I haven't seen Ratatouille in years.
We're ending it here.
It's fantastic.
Beer, did you like it?
Alfie, it was one of my favourite stouts I've had. It was absolutely fantastic. I finished it in the
Really?
first 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can we
Good.
buy a crate? Because
The thing is, though, Lou,
It's from Bristol, Dex. There's a chance we can even visit the brewery when this all
Bristol.
opens up, and we could do a nice
how
video
much
there.
of that was you just absolutely gasping for a beer because the weather's lovely? and buzzing?
Might well have been.
I feel like I can't remember what the one we had was called. This feels like a. I think this is like one we had before, but slightly worse.
Yeah, I know what you mean. We did have
Maybe the
another-
Wiper and True one.
Yeah.
You know, the original milk stout we had.
No, I prefer some. I felt like
Really?
sometimes with a stout, you can it feels a bit bare. Sometimes this one was full.
Oh, it was lovely, mate. It was absolutely lovely.
And Declan, you liked your wine very much.
Yeah, actually, it's really quite nice. Don't get me wrong, it's not as good as the Castello, because that's a Pinot Grigio. You're not going to beat that. This is it's a Sauvignon Blanc. I'll finish the bottle. That's why I'm talking really loud. The description says, a bright, lively wine with Sauvignon Blanc grapes grown in Chile's Maule Valley, crisp and dry. Its classic Sauvignon aromas and grassy character. It does taste quite grassy. Supports intense and lingering tropical fruits. Told you, fruit. Including passion fruit and lime. It's a really, really good wine. Again, Estevez, beautiful. I've got to say it. Go and try it.
You right, Lou?
Yeah, but you didn't say the thing I thought you was going to say.
Store in a cool dark place.
Ah,
Yeah,
there it is.
there you go. On Friday, listen to our extra podcast, which we're going to film in a minute, which is about the bad film.
The Room.
The Room.
Oh yeah. Insert dab here. Cool. Right. Thanks for listening.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this Guzzlr Podcast.